Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're gonna do something a little different and a little special, for me anyway. I was doing so well with not buying any new makeup. I went like a month or at least like 3 weeks or something, which I know is probably like whatever for other people, but it's a lot for someone who has clearly a problem. It's a lot for me. But then these past 2 weeks, I just lost it. I completely splurged all over Sephora and Ulta and just bought so much shit. It's really exciting and I really can't wait to try it out. I thought maybe, what if I got a video out of it and I did sort of like a first impressions try on haul where I try out all my new stuff, or some of it rather. It'd be good to sort of like use the products, get my first impression of it, but then also get a video out of it. I'm just gonna get started. I'm going to use my NYX HD Concealer. Just dot that on my eyes. I actually have a confession to make. I tried to film this video last night, and it did not go well, let's just say that. So, this is technically my second impressions on a lot of the products. I did not want to put up that video because it was, girl, it was so bad. I looked like Marilyn Manson tried to do Instagram makeup and then gave up and rolled around in dirt. That's what I looked like. Like, it was, I haven't looked that bad in years. So I was like, I'm not doing this. Anyway, let's talk about the first new product. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the brand Makeup Revolution. They're available in Ulta. They're based in the UK, I believe, or somewhere in Europe. And they're a lot more available there if you are in Europe or in the UK. But they are available in the US as well. One of the things they're really known for is they take high-end palettes that are really well known and they make dupes for them. Like, you know, the Lorac Pro palettes, the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palettes that everyone like goes crazy over. They have dupes for all of those. And I've tried some of their eyeshadows, and especially considering the price, they're pretty solid. So they also created a dupe for the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette that Kat Von D is infamous for, that everyone knows and loves. And I have it right here today. It is called, alright, get ready for this, because this is a little crazy. This is called the Makeup Revolution Ultra Eye Contour Light and Shade Palette. Let me just say that one more time. So the original one is the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. This one is the Light and Shade palette. I don't know how they get away with that. Like, I don't know why Kat Von D isn't coming through and like suing their asses, because that's what I would do. I mean, that's ballsy, I have to say. I don't have the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, unfortunately. I wish I did, but I'll probably leave a picture of it somewhere on the screen so you guys can see it. And I'll hold it up here, and you'll be able to see like the shades are exactly the same. Like pretty much exactly the same. Like they really are. They really are. This is what I'm going to be trying out on my eyes today. I'm going to take my Mikasa Beauty E300 brush. I'm going to take this light shade right here. Now, they don't have any names. Makeup Revolution does not name their shadows. And I'm just going to set my concealer with this shade. And I don't know if you can see, but pigmentation is definitely there. Even though I haven't tried the Shade and Light palette, Kat Von D is some of my favorite eyeshadows. And they're very pigmented and very blendable. I have her Chrysalis palette, which she had launched many years ago, which is like, still to this day, I've had it for 3 years. It's like my ride or die palette. Like I still use it constantly. And the Serpentina palette, I don't have them with me, but just so you know, I am familiar with Kat Von D shadows in general, and they're nice, so I know what to expect if this is truly a dupe. I'm then going to take Morphe M441 brush. It's a little stained, I know, I'm sorry. And I'm just going to take this like peachy shade right here, and I'm going to blend that as my transition color. Just going to sort of blend that into my crease. The shade's not as pigmented, but It's a transition shade, so that's not like a huge deal. I'm gonna take this really pretty, my favorite shade in the palette, this like orange toned brown with the same brush. And I'm just gonna sort of put that over. That's gonna be like our main crease color. Okay, there we go. Ooh. Don't know if they are blending as well as Kat Von D's, but you know, it is a dupe. And I mean, the colors, they seem to be very much on point, and they did a good job with the pigmentation. I'm gonna take this Anastasia brush, the duo-ended like shadow brush, and I'm gonna take this brown shade. I'm gonna just pop this, it's a smaller brush, right here in the crease. We're gonna go back in with the orange shade and just blend things out. I'm gonna take a clean, fluffy brush. It's Morphe G16 thumb metal brush. I'm gonna take that very first shade we used, the peachy shade, and just kind of soften the edge of the shadow a little bit. I think I'm just gonna define with the brown a little more. I'm just going with this petite brush and dusting in a little more brown. These palettes give off a lot of powder. These are very powdery shadows, I have to say. That's another thing. So if you don't like that, watch out, because there's powder everywhere right now. I personally don't mind that much. I'm gonna make a mess anyway, because I am a mess, so whatever. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'll use this little flat brush. I'll take, they have two like white shades that look very similar. One is more like pink toned and one is more like neutral. So I'm gonna just take the neutral one. Damn. Appreciate that. I like what you're doing. Just gonna blend a little more. And I'm actually gonna sort of take that brush again and take that light shade again. Paint it on my brow bone. Now, to really clean things up, I'm gonna take a brush. I'm gonna take my loose powder. I'm just gonna sort of use this powder to sort of clean up my shadow. I'm gonna step away from the eyes for a minute because I want to try on some other things. I will be doing other stuff to the eyes to finish it later, but I'm bored, so. So yeah, I'm gonna move on to the rest of the face. I have a new primer. I've heard so many good things about this primer. Everyone and their mother were talking about it. This is the Becca.
Basic
Becca Ever Matte Poreless Primer. Just 12-hour shine control. This is the small one. When I buy primers, especially high-end primers, I like to sort of buy the half size because one, it's new to me and I want to try it out. I don't know if I'm gonna like it yet, but also because I try so much makeup and I kind of cycle through makeup a lot, I don't really always need a full size, so I appreciate when people give half sizes like this as an option. This is for $15. I believe, and the full size is like 38 or something. Yeah, I know. Primers can get pretty expensive. That's what it looks like. So I'm just going to apply it on my face. And we're gonna see how it makes my foundation look. Hopefully not terrible. We shall see. Just gonna sort of dot it. I'm gonna focus it on like my pore areas. Pat it in like that. This is unusual, this primer. It feels very mattifying. I think if I put too much, Jesus. My skin feels very matte right now and very dry, and it feels like astringent almost like it's, my pores are like closing up or something. I'm a little hesitant, but we have to see how foundation lays on top of this. Go for it. This is also a matte foundation, so hopefully I don't over mattify myself. So I'm very familiar with this foundation, so this will really get me a good gauge on this primer. So this definitely mattified my face. It mattified very intensely, I feel like. I can sort of feel that even without like putting foundation on. Move on to concealer now. Whenever I purchase stuff at Ulta, this is my ride or die concealer. I am obsessed with this concealer. I've been using it for like a year and a half now, like non-stop. I've honestly lost track of how many I've gone through. Like, it's probably like at least 10. So whenever I go to Ulta and whenever I buy stuff, because NYX had a lot of like 2-for-1s, you know, you buy one thing, get one thing off, and this concealer always has that, so I always pick up 2 of them, just so I have it. But this concealer is wonderful. And those of you who know me, you probably heard me rave about it plenty. I'm just gonna apply that on all my high points. I'm gonna put a lot on today. Fuck it. And I'm going to try a new powder, which is very exciting. I very rarely try new powders. Powders are one of those things where like I'm sort of staying in a rut. If you know me, you know I love the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation. It's my favorite foundation. I like the Kat Von D Lock-It concealer as well. It's not my favorite, but I do like it. It's a good concealer. So now we're gonna try my girl Kat's translucent setting powder. I've heard great things. I really do need all the help I can get sometimes, especially right now I'm looking outside and it's really hot out, the sun's shining bright, I have to run around and do things today, so definitely want to make sure everything stays nice and set. And I have to say, with this powder, my skin feels very different. Like, it feels smooth, for sure, which it better feel smooth, that's what powder is supposed to do, but it has like a buttery feeling to it almost. It's really interesting. I don't know if it's like a true translucent powder, because you know companies be saying their powder's translucent, but then like for like darker skin tones it's really not. So, you know, and we're gonna try. Oh my god, I'm so excited for this. I've been wanting this forever, and I finally was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get it. The NYX Contour Kit. We just appreciate it. Oh, it's probably has fingerprints all over it already, because I'm just like groping it. You get 4 highlight shades. One of them's a shimmer highlight for like your cheekbones, and the other 3 are like to set powder or like for your under eye. And then you have 4 contour shades. 2 of them seem bronzy, and 2 of them seem more cool toned. So it's a very diverse palette. I'm not gonna say it's cheap, to be honest though. It's like $26, $27. You do get a lot of product, so I do think it's worth it, and it's still cheaper than like contour kits you find in Sephora, which would be like 40 plus. NYX does makeup so well. I feel like NYX really does compete really well with the high-end brands. I feel like their quality is on point. I'm always willing to try something if it's NYX. I'm gonna take the shade Sculpt. I'm not going to go into detail about contouring. I know y'all are interested in that. I do have a contour video. I'll link it down below if you guys want a more detailed explanation on just how I personally like to contour. It doesn't look like my foundation blended as well as it usually does. And I think I'm going to say that's the primer's fault. So, but that's not necessarily means it's like too much or a bad thing. I might have personally used too much of it. That could be my own fault. So it's something I'm gonna have to play around with a little bit more to see if I can get it to work for my face. Because my face is very oily, so if I think something is too mattifying, it's too mattifying. I'm gonna do some blush. I don't have really any blushes with me right now except my 2 Milani blushes. I don't have a new blush to try, really. I'm gonna use the highlight shade in here, the shimmery one. It's called Ice Queen. Ooh, okay, that means it's gonna be something. It's a very light highlight. Like, this is probably only gonna work for you if you're really pale. I mean, you can see it in the pan. It's literally white, so it will work for me. So on the chunky and glittery side, it's not as reflective as I want it to be. I'm gonna add another highlight to my face. I'm gonna take actually my self-made palette and the shade Treasure. Immediately, I don't know if you guys can see the difference, but that just offers a lot more shine. I think I'm just going to do the rest of my makeup and then come right back. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to wear this makeup throughout the day. I'm just going to film again at the end of the day and tell you like how everything, you know, wore and acted throughout the day. For now, my first impressions, I think they did a really nice job with this palette. Overall. It's definitely dupeable for the Shade and Light palette. I don't really know how I feel about this shimmer highlight shade. I just didn't like the way it looked on my skin. And like, this is so light, like only like 2 people could use it, literally. But the contour powders are really nice, and I think this is a really great value if you like doing like different tones of contour, because that is warm and cool, so you can contour and you can bronze. If you're a makeup artist, this is probably a really nice thing to have in your kit. The powder, I really like the way it feels. I feel pretty, getting a little sweaty under the lights, but I feel pretty mattified. Now, the Becca primer, that I was pretty like, wow, like that really took me back, how mattifying that was. It might be a little too much, but at the same time, I could have just applied too much and maybe just, I didn't use the right foundation on top of it, because I did use a matte foundation on top of it, and you know, those sort of things combined together could have been a little too much, especially after I put the powder over and everything. So it might have been better if I used a more like natural foundation, which I probably should have done. But yeah, that's how I feel. So I will go on throughout the day, do some more stuff to take care of, and then I will come back and check in. Hey guys, I have returned. So it is now about 8 o'clock at night. So I've been wearing this makeup for a good, not an exact time, but I would say 7 to 8 hours. So it's definitely a day's wear. You can see a little close-up of my face and all of its glory. I did change my lipstick. I changed my lipstick like 3 times today. For my final thoughts about all the new products I've tried today, starting with this Becca primer. It does control shine. It controls shine, girl. It controls shine real good. And it definitely mattifies my skin. I don't know about pores as much. I do kind of see my pores sort of coming through. And I do see a little bit of shine. I didn't touch up any powder or anything. I have a tiny bit of shine, but I don't feel a shine. So it's not like as shiny as I usually would be, I don't think. I also use that glow mist. I'm also under lighting, so there's that. But this definitely did a good job, I would say, for the most part, of controlling my shine. That being said, it is incredibly mattifying. Almost on the verge of being too much. Oh, it says it's liquid blotting paper. Fun fact, right there. That's pretty cool. It's not wrong. But yeah, it's very mattifying. And my skin just looks really matte, on the verge of being too matte and too, like, I guess cakey, sort of, is the word I'm looking for. It does look really cakey. It just looks like it's like, I guess sitting on top of my skin is supposed to be one of one with my skin, if that makes sense. And that could be my fault, because one, I could have used too much of this, but I also did lay a matte foundation on top of it. I laid the L'Oreal Infallible and the Clinique matte foundations on top. They're both matte foundations. I mixed them together and applied them with a beauty blender. Now that being said, there are other mattifying primers I've used where I use matte foundations on top of them, and I don't have this issue. They blend and look just fine. So, I don't know. It's something that I'm not too sure about yet, to be honest. I kind of have to play a little bit more with it to get a better opinion and figure out how I really want to use it, what foundations is good to use with, etc. This Kat Von D powder, my face is very powdered. It's nice and set. It stayed really set. The question is it as good as my less expensive powders? I'm not too sure. I have to try using a small amount and dusting it on. Though I did wear this makeup for a long day, it's not sort of like my everyday day where I'm like running around and doing 50 things at my college campus and doing school and going to work and all that shit. Just kind of a Sunday where I'm just kind of taking care of some, you know, home and social media things and just kind of chilling a little bit. So I have to put like this powder as well as primer to the test where a more rigorous day where I'm actually really sweating and see how well it fares up to that, because that is a challenge. They stayed on my face pretty well. They didn't fade away. The contour shades, which is a plus for me. I'm still not sure about this shimmer shade though. It's just, I felt like you saw before how I laid it on my face. I was like, I'm not seeing it. And so I had to lay another like highlighter on top of it, and I was like, okay, that's better. So I don't know. Overall though, it's really good. Definitely one of the better drugstore contour powders and bronzing powders that I've tried. I'll definitely be getting some good use out of that. What else did I use today? Oh, the eyeshadow palette. I didn't talk about the eyeshadow palette. They blend pretty well. They don't blend the best shadow ever used. It's not, I think Kat Von D's are a little more blendable. These don't match up exactly, but I mean, I kind of expect that. Even though like the drugstore really comes through with a lot of things, I still kind of feel like they're a little bit ahead with eyeshadows. Like, there's just, I noticed the difference between drugstore and high-end shadows. Like, I still really love my high-end shadows. I love my Kat Von D, I love my Anastasia, I love my Makeup Forever. The quality is there. Like, you can just see and feel a difference as those other products, and you're like, this is the same shit, why am I paying all this money? I think you do get your money's worth with a lot of eyeshadow palettes. That being said, these are very pigmented, which I like in the way that Kat Von D's are pigmented. They didn't fade throughout the day. I know definitely that's another issue I have with lower end shadows. They can definitely fade. You can sort of see in the palette, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it, how powder just kind of got everywhere and like the shadows are mixing together. That could definitely be annoying, like when the darker shades mix into the lighter one, and you go into the lighter one, you get a darker one, and you blend it doesn't blend, and then you got raccoon eyes, and then your house is on fire, and don't know. I would say it's pretty good. I think for most of all they did a good job. I mean, the colors are unclockable. It looks exactly like the Shade and Light palette. So I think that's it. Again, you know, you don't have to, but if you want to see a little more of little crazy, wild, gay little old me, you can hit subscribe right there and like or dislike. I won't judge. Thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed something. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.